Oh, that's rock and roll right there, bro. Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. Yeah. You like this? A little punkish, right? A little rock and roll, a little punkish.
Yeah.
And it suits the guest coming up. Okay, you can turn it down, Malik. I'm so excited to have this next guest on. Oh my God, this guy is like, Malik said it best. He was just joking. I know you, Malik, but you're kind of throwing shade a little bit. You can be a little smart ass. And he says, he like the Michael Jordan of motorsports? And I go, you nailed it. I mean, in your arrogance, you kind of nailed it. Like, he's like the Michael Jordan of motorsport. I go, yes, he is. My next guest coming on. It's almost, it's like in 2 minutes, and I can't wait. You know, my favorite part of this is when I see that they're clicking into Zoom. You know what I mean? It's like seeing that Amazon truck come up to your house, like, oh shit, my package is here. You know what I mean? That's what it's like. Your dog starts barking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know about your dog. My dog starts barking. I know if I open the door, that Amazon dude is dead. I mean, that's the only time my dog comes to life. He's kind of like slowing down now, but man, when that Amazon or FedEx dude comes, he is ready to attack. And that's what it feels like, man. When I go, oh, he's gonna be here. I'm happy, man. I'm very excited. I'm very excited. So this is cool, man. It's BT. Welcome to Tales from a Gemini. And I just started a second podcast with Dion Curry, and it's called Sorry, We've Been Canceled.
Sorry, We're Canceled.
Sorry, We're Canceled. I don't even know the name of my second podcast. Sorry, We're Canceled. We're going to get all that up and running. I'm going to tell you about that later. I'm so excited for that one. I try to keep it comedy on all of them, but that's really, really, really comedy centered. It's where I want to do, interview people and sit around motorsports and just people in general on this Tales from a Gemini. So, like I said, leave comments like you guys been doing. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Just want to make this better. This is I love what I'm doing here. I love the passion. I love working with these guys, Wyatt and sometimes Malik. I really appreciate you guys. Sometimes Malik. He always throws shade at me, telling me how old I am and I shouldn't be saying this and that. And I like it. No, I like it. I like, the playfulness around, but I swear to God, one of these days, But I do love Malik, man. He's my dude. I do that. Like I said, if I didn't like you, I wouldn't play with you like that. You know what I mean? It would be strictly business. I'd go to Starbucks. I wouldn't ask you what you wanted to drink. I would just go for myself and come back, and that's it. You know what I mean? Bye. I'd be like that. But if I'm giving you shit, then it means I like it, bro. So take that as a compliment. And hey, ladies, how are you? Okay, was that creepy? I guess it was.
Maybe a little bit.
No, a little bit. They're in their 20s, right?
It was the volume of the voice.
Yeah, I guess hey, what's up, girl? Like that.
If we get that volume a little bit higher, it wouldn't be as creepy.
Like, hey, girls, how's that? What am I, like the Black Mickey Mouse? Hey, girls, how's it going? Who's the creeper in the window? All right, listen, man. I don't want to delay this any longer. Let's get my buddy Ralph on. Right now, I'm going to have the voice of Supercross, Mr. Ralph Sheheen, is going to come on. This guy has done it all. Like he said, he is the Michael Jordan of motorsports. When you listen to Supercross, this is him coming in right now. I can't wait. This is it coming in right now. He's so professional. 12:05 on the dot. Here we go. Watch him. Here we go. Ralph, there he is. He didn't know how to operate it. Ralph, what's up, buddy? I'm doing great. Let me tell you something. The guys I work with, they're like 19, 18, 19. They're kids, and they always give me shit. And the dude goes, so what is this guy, like the Michael Jordan of motorsports? And I go, as a matter of fact, he is. And yes, you are. So he was flipping you shit, but he was right. You are the Michael Jordan of motorsports. And I tell people all the time, they don't know how much of a dork I am when it comes to motorsports. And when Speed Channel was around, which is the greatest channel ever, especially for dorks like me, I just remember being at the MotoGP, and I remember the Speed Channel booth was set up outside, and you were broadcasting, and I was like, Ralph, and you're on air live looking at me like, who's this guy that's yelling at me? And you had to go, okay, camera 2. Yeah, and I'm over and going like doing this. And I think a friendship was born from that because I never let up. And I always apologize to everybody I have on for being such a dork. But man, I've always loved what you do. Your voice is synonymous with racing in America. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Your voice is synonymous with racing in America in every form, from Daytona 500 to the Supercross. Your voice, man, is the voice that everyone knows.
Listen, I love you for that. You know that. But why did I have to beg to come on this show?
Well, because
you had MotoGP guys and British Superbike announcers, and I don't know, you probably had the guy from the local hockey rink, and I'm like, No, listen. I want you to know something else. This is the only time I've ever done an interview where I was stressed out about what I was going to wear on the air. Because I'm like, this is BT. I've got to make a statement when I come on the air. So you ready?
Yes, Motorhead. That's what I'm talking about, buddy.
Okay.
You know why? Because you're my ace of spade. You're my ace of spade.
So for those who don't know, one of the things that brought BT and I together is our passionate love for racing and hard rock, heavy metal music.
Rock and roll.
Rock, we're all about it. So when I started thinking, it was like, so do I wear a racing shirt? Do I wear a rock shirt? And I gotta go. Racing shirts, all BT's is the only show I could wear a rock shirt. And I thought, well, who do I wear? And I started going, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Van Halen. Where am I going? And I went, oh, it's Motorhead. It just sums everything up.
Yes.
Motorhead, Gearheads.
Yes.
And we love Lemmy. We love Motorhead. So, Lemmy, here's to you. We're going Motorhead today on BT Show.
Brother, thank you so much, man. You know what? That is so true because honestly, whenever I look back, to me, my life began again in 2006 when I moved to Indianapolis, and I don't know how, but it's like every time, as far back as I remember, me and you were friends, and I don't remember when we initially first met, but we've always been friends, and our connection, and it says so in your bio, you're talking about, what one of the things of success is, you gotta have a passion for what you do, and even though I don't get paid, my passion is I love motorsports and specifically motorcycle racing, and that along with rock and roll. When I found out you were a metalhead like me, or vice versa, maybe we found out we both loved metal, it was like, are you serious? I remember us sitting at the Velocity and at the Marriott and us talking about rock and roll. We're talking about we sung Kiss songs, we sung Motorhead songs, we even sung and we text each other, and I text you a line from that group called Axe that no one knows about, and you text back another line, and you got to know your rock and roll to know Axe. No one knows Axe, but those guys rocked because I'm a freak of the street.
Absolutely.
Remember that?
Absolutely. And I think, you mentioned the fact that nobody's getting rich doing this, right?
Nobody, especially me.
When it's the same thing with your comedy, right? You're doing it because that's where your passion is. Sure, you hope that it turns into something where you make a good living. God willing, you become wealthy at it or whatever, but as long as you can provide for your life, your family, that's what it's all about. But the most important thing with that is doing something you really have passion for, because it's never a job. There's never been a day in your life when you went out on stage to do your comedy routine, you went, I got to do another one. No, you're like, I can't wait to get out there and do another one. What we always say in our business is we get paid for the travel. We do the broadcasts and the races for free. The travel is the part that wears you down. The hotels, the airplanes, eating by yourself on the road another night without your family. That's what wears you down. But when you get to the racetrack and you start smelling the fumes, hearing the engines, whatever it is,
oh my gosh,
man, it's all worth it at that point. I don't care what I'll pay you. Let me do it.
I just remember us having the same flight to Indy from Charlotte, and you were in first class, and I was back with the poor people, and you text me, and you were like, hey, how is it back there? And I remember that, and I was like, you son of a bitch. I remember that. We were on the same flight, and you had first class carte blanche. I think you said, I'm having champagne. What do the poor people have?
Hey, that's just all those upgrade tickets, all those miles you fly. They're not buying it for you. You're just earning it,
Whatever, man. We know you're the man. We know you got a Ferrari someplace for Lucky Lucas. We know that, man. We know that.
It's about that big. It's just a little Hot Wheels Ferrari. What are you talking about?
But ask him. This is the part to me that I knew you had driven and you can but I didn't know you got second in the Baja 1000, dude. That is legendary because that is you know me. So my dream I never call it what do you call it, the bucket
bucket list.
Yeah, the bucket. Oh my God, dude.
That's it.
What year was that? What year was that?
That was 91.
Was that a Ford F-150?
It's a Class 7 4x4. It's a Ford Ranger back then. I know it's a little, shiny with the light and everything. I was with the guys at Ford and BF Goodrich called me up and said, hey, would you like to come be a co-driver in the Baja 1000 with one of our factory teams. I was like, yeah. So
my God.
it was so cool in the fact that, you know, a co-driver, you're just really strapped in, hanging on for dear life, right? You're the guy in the passenger seat. It's like in a World Rally Championship. You know, you're the guy in the other seat, barking out the directions and the all the information the driver needs. And it was the wildest event. There's a great quote from Parnelli Jones, I believe it was, who said, "Running the Baja 1000 is like an all-day plane crash," and he's right. I mean, I've never been so beat up in my entire life as I was when I got out of that truck that day. I got to go down and do all the pre-running with them and go through all the things that you do to get ready for the race. We got in the truck and got going, and one of the first things that happened when we got up into the trees coming out of Ensenada, you go up into these mountains.
I love Ensenada.
It ripped the side mirrors off. So he needed an extra set of eyes, right, to see what's going on behind him.
Yeah.
So he goes, you got to loosen your belts up so you can turn around and see. So now I'm not even strapped in. I'm like, you know, flopping all around in this thing while it's going. And I'm trying to read the directions to him and point. There's these little orange squares, and they put them out on trees or rocks or cactus, whatever.
Right.
And it'll be like one arrow pointing this way. And that means it's a wide open corner. You don't even need to lift, just hammer through there. If it's 2 arrows, pump the brake a hair and then go. If it's 3 arrows, lower down and, you know, turn in. So I'm looking for all these, and I'm pointing, hey, you know, 1 arrow left on the cactus over here, whatever I could see. And meanwhile, I'm looking around, hey, we got a guy on the right here. Oh, we got this over here. And you also have to man the radio and let the chase crew who's going down a highway, you know, 50 miles west of you, trying to get to the next pit area.
Yeah.
You got to let them know every time you pass a mile marker where you are in the desert. So it'd be like, day race to day chase, just past mile marker 320, all good. Or right front tire going down, we're going to need a new one. Or the driver's hungry. Whatever the info is, you got to pass that along. So when they get to the pit area, they've got everything ready to go. And we got flat tires out in the desert we had to change. We went through all of that. This is really cool. If you catch up to somebody you're faster than, the rule in the desert is you get behind them, hope they see you and they move out of the way. If they don't, you blow an air horn. So that was my job. You blow an air horn and say, hey, we're behind you. And if they still don't move, then it's 3 strikes. You're out, tap them, shove them, and you're on your way.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, yeah.
So
you had to do that.
You basically get road rage in the desert, basically.
Yeah. And we come up on people. And so this was a good one, too. We're going along through the desert, and they told me, they say, hey, if we come around a corner and you see a group of guys standing on the side, hang on. Because they like to build jumps to sabotage your run.
Yes.
And get you airborne and see if you'll crash. It's like, you know, it's like fun for them, right?
Uh-huh.
So we come around this one corner, just flat out, we're getting it. And all of a sudden, group of guys right over here on the right, and he screams, he goes, hang on. And that truck went up like this. And I thought, well, I guess I'm going to find out what flipping through the desert's all about. And that thing came down and landed on the left front and went, bam! And we landed and pulled it off and just kept going. And I caught a glimpse of the guys in the mirror, and they're all like, oh.
Are you serious, bro?
They couldn't believe we didn't crash.
Oh, my.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
You got the greatest.
It's the craziest thing I've ever done.
That honestly.
Thing I've ever, I mean, I could tell you stories about it all day.
I remember we talked about, because I told you my bucket list, and I had to say, but my thing is, I don't want to say bucket list. I say things that you're gonna do, because you don't know when you don't know when you're gonna kick the bucket. You don't know when it's gonna happen. So you got to do that now when you can. You got to do it.
I didn't want to think about it.
Exactly. So my thing is, I love the Dakar. Man, the Dakar is in my heart. When that comes on, man, I love that. So when you told me you did the Baja, you didn't tell me you did Baja. You just told me how your body hurt, but you didn't tell me you did the Baja. And we talk about everything. You didn't tell me you did the Baja. You just told me that you rode in the truck in the desert. You said your body hurts because I said I want to do the Dakar. So that, and when I found that out, I was like, are you serious? You don't talk about it. You be about it. I mean, you are. That's what I'm saying. You're Mr. Motorsports because you actually do it, man. And I think that's the
Well,
connection.
thank you.
No, you do. I mean, you don't just talk about motor, and that's why you get the respect from the drivers, because you've been there. I mean, you've raced. I mean, here I am talking about it, and then, Sarah, just 2 days ago, I look on your Instagram, and you're driving a super modified in the suit, looking dapper than Dan. And I mean it. You look like a smaller Tony Stewart. You look good.
I'm looking too, right? I hope.
Hey, don't tell
Hey,
Tony I said
I
that.
got a great one for you about Tony.
Okay, please do. Please tell me.
Tony and I, in Indianapolis, he was running the Brickyard, and this is when they also ran the Busch cars, as they were called back then.
Yeah.
Over what was Indianapolis Raceway Park on Saturday night before the Brickyard on Sunday.
I remember that.
So a lot of the Cup drivers would qualify Saturday for the Brickyard, then they'd helicopter over and run at IRP in the Busch cars. So I'm working for NBC on the Busch race.
Mm-hmm.
So my job is to interview Tony on the grid. And he flies in, he's getting in the car, and I've known Smoke for 100 years. So we're standing around joking, and we come live on the air on NBC now, right? And I go and I say, so Tony, I ask him some question about the car, how it's qualifying, you ready to go, basic racing kind of question. And he looks at me and he goes, "What color dye are you using in your hair these days?" That's his response to my question on NBC. He goes, "You call that tequila sunrise?" And I looked right at him and I said, "Smoke, you keep eating the way you're going, and they're not going to have to put any left side weight in that race car anymore." Dude, that's an interview on NBC.
That is beautiful. Did he laugh, or what did he do?
He cracked right up. Oh yeah, he thought it was great.
Oh my God, dude, I love that. That is total respect right there. And I was gonna ask you, man, like, has there ever been an interview? And we talked about this. I'm not gonna put any names. I'll let you do it. But is there any been an interview where it got cantankerous? You were like, you know what? When we break, if you want to go, bro, we can go. Is there ever been a time when that happened?
Yeah.
I know you can't.
I know you know the story, and I will leave the name out to protect the innocent, right?
That's why I brought it up.
There was a particular NASCAR driver, and we had a moment at Daytona one year during the nighttime race in July, the Coke Zero 400, where he had some performance issues with his race car late in the going of the race. And I heard it on the radio, as did the hundreds of thousands of people sitting in the grandstands, because they all got scanners on. So if you're listening in, you have an idea of what's going on with all the drivers,
Right.
So I heard him complaining about this. So as we got ready to do the interview down on pit road after the race, I asked him, I said, so you were having engine problems. We were just kind of waiting for the commercials to end, and we were going to do the interview. And he got furious, and he stepped right up into my face. He's like, "Why are you always coming down on me and ripping me and this, that, and the other thing?" And he stopped, and I stepped even closer to him, and I said, "First of all, don't ever accuse me of saying anything negative about you, because I haven't. And if you don't believe me, I'll grab every tape I've done of every interview with you, and I'll bring them to your hauler next week, and you and I can sit there and go through them, and you show me where I've said something negative about you. And on top of that, you're the one that mentioned you had engine problems out on the racetrack. And if you don't want to hear me and everybody in the grandstands hear it, then don't say it on the radio, because we've all got scanners on." And then I stepped back, and then we came back out on the air, and I said, "So-and-so, how was the race today?" And, like nothing had ever happened. And he answered the question and talked about the engine having its issues like nothing had ever happened. And we just went about our day.
Man, the greatest thing about it, I was going to see if you were going to bring his name, because I knew not to bring his name because that's unprofessional. But, man, I just knew that story you told me at the bar, and I laughed so hard because I met him in Barcelona for my birthday weekend. I was like, "What's he doing here?" He took a picture of me. He was nice and everything, but then you told me the story, and I laughed and I laughed and I laughed.
He's a good enough guy, and he's a great racer, and we've gotten past that.
Yeah.
So I don't want to bury him.
Exactly.
But I'll save it for the book. I'll get him in.
Okay, well, let me ask. Okay, you've been around racing a lot. So who's the most underrated driver that you've ever seen that doesn't get the credit? Underrated, where you go, "Man, this guy, for what he's doing with this equipment, this guy's killing it, and no one's talking about it." Maybe.
But that's a great question, BT. And man, now you got me thinking, because I'm not just thinking drivers. I'm thinking riders too, right? I mean, and you can look at that in different ways, right? Like you could say Ken Roczen is not underrated.
Right.
Everybody knows he's a very talented rider.
Right.
But he's underaccomplished.
Oh my gosh, that is, you know what? But until this year, Eli Tomac the same way, he was underaccomplished. That's the first time I've ever heard that. But yeah, he's under. That is beautiful. That is beautiful.
So
yes.
Now I'm trying to think of it that way. I mean, because like there's a lot of guys you could say, really great drivers or riders, racers in general, but they haven't won a championship, or maybe they just didn't have the equipment to get it done.
Exactly.
So I would say Michael Andretti was certainly not underrated.
Right.
But he never won the Indy 500, and he probably should have.
Yeah.
More than once.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So, and that's not always his fault. A lot of times it was mechanical,
Of course.
So I'm trying to think now of, man.
I love that I stumped you. I love that I stumped you a little bit.
The challenge is so many times in racing, it's unlike stick and ball sports in that if you're a great hitter, it doesn't matter your financial backing, you're going to the show.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
In racing, you can be very talented, and if you don't have the financial support, you're not getting a shot.
Exactly. Racing is so much. It's about money. I mean, what's the old saying? If you got money, you can throw away, put it in racing, or it's like putting money in a bag and throwing it.
The quickest way to make a small fortune in racing is start with a big one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what people don't realize about racing. It's so much, and some of the most talented people don't get there because they don't have the money. You probably watched it. There was a documentary about karting, and it was a girl, a teenage girl, a boy, and the boy, his parents were kind of poor, and man, they couldn't do it anymore, and he had to give up on the dream. And I think he went to school, military school, whatever. But man, that hurt me so much. You probably seen it before, but it was I think it was like 3 teenagers, and they all had that dream, obviously, of NASCAR or whatever. And the girl, she was racing all my life, and they followed, I think, for a year or two. And the kid, man, they were kind of poor, and they couldn't afford it anymore. And man, that just hurts because that's why I love watching the supporting races. Like, okay, NASCAR, Formula One, GP, that's great. It is. It's great. That's the show. But it's the supporting class. That's why I love to watch Moto 3 and Moto GP. That's why I love to watch World Super Sport 300, because those are the kids, man. It's like the minor leagues of baseball, and it's like, man, they're that close to the show, and it's like they got to make that leap, and if they don't, man, the dream it's deferred, or sometimes it's lost, or they give up on it. And it hurts to watch that because, man, they're that close and they're teenagers, and that's what they've always wanted. But sometimes, man, it doesn't work out. And that hurts me more than watching, say, a GP rider who doesn't get it, in a way, because you're already there. Yeah. And, it's like, but man, it's the smaller people that don't, like the financial backing. That's what it hurts to watch that, man.
Well, and there's so many twists and turns in this. There's a great documentary out there right now about Tommy Byrne. And Tommy was a very talented racer from over in Europe. Tommy is Irish or Scott. I think he's Irish.
Okay.
Irish. And he was coming up through all the ranks through Formula Ford and just destroying people. And he was getting all the breaks, but he had a wild side to him.
As they do back in the day.
That wild side hindered him.
Yeah.
It wasn't that he wasn't quick behind the wheel. In fact, he went to a McLaren test. It was quicker than Senna. He was beating Senna in a lot of the lower formulas. They were always doing this. And he was one of the greatest wheelmen at the time when it came to pure outright speed. But it was his off track that hindered him. That people just weren't sure they wanted to, is he polished enough to be in F1, so there's so many different things that can hinder a driver from getting to their ultimate goal. To take your question another step, Jeff Gordon is certainly not appreciated
yeah,
or underrated,
right?
But how cool would it have been to see Jeff in his day at his prime in F1? Because I really believe he could have done it.
Yes.
He could have done it.
But why
Michael
didn't he?
Andretti had a shot at it in what, 93 or 95, whatever it was when he went over there.
Yes.
And was teammates at McLaren. But it was 1 year, and he didn't get to do all the testing and all the things that, the other guys had been doing prior to that. Could Michael have really done it? And I think he was certainly talented enough behind the wheel to do it. Would it have been great to see Tony Stewart go over there? I would love to have seen that.
Before he got really plumper.
Right?
I mean, honestly, if Tony Stewart and I hope I never run into him because I know smoke, so I don't want no smoke from smoke. But if Tony Stewart could have watched if he stayed slim or whatever and got in shape, Tony Stewart, I think he could have ran with those guys, and then he just kept getting bigger and bigger, and it's like. But honestly,
Tony is a tremendous wheelman.
Yes.
He's the kind of guy you could put him in anything and he's going to get the job done. Give him enough laps, he's going to get it done. He drove Lewis's car. I was there the day he did it at Watkins Glen. Remember they did trading paint?
Yes.
When Montoya and Gordon did it at Indy?
Yes.
I was on the Channel show for that.
Of course you were.
Announcer for that.
Of course you were.
And then Tony and Lewis Hamilton did it at Watkins Glen. And I was there for that as well, working in the pits. And I'm telling you, and Lewis would have said it that day, Tony could do it. There's no doubt. Give him the laps. Lewis could come over here and drive the Cup car. When you're talking about guys at that level of skill set, put them in anything, they've got it in the seat of their pants feel.
Yes.
Just give them the time to master it, and they're good. It's one of the reasons why, BT, that I've always thought motorcycle racers can become great car racers.
I was going to ask you that.
Give them
yes.
time. They've been racing since they were 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
Right? Getting on a dirt bike for the first time.
Yes.
Loretta Lynn's or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
They have figured out the game of racing by then. They know how to save their equipment. They know when to make the pass. They know you can't win in the first corner, but you can lose it there. They've learned all the race craft, right?
Right.
To be a champion on two wheels.
Right.
Whether it's on road racing or dirt bikes. So now when they're 25 to 30, they're still young men, but maybe they're getting too old to be racing in Supercross, for example.
Right.
You take Ricky Carmichael, or Jeff Ward's a perfect example.
Jeff Ward that's an underrated. Jeff Ward across all racing, he almost won the Indy 500. People don't realize that. Jeff Ward and he
did win in IndyCar at Texas.
Yeah.
He did win in IndyCar.
Yeah,
so that goes to show you that if you give them enough time,
yes,
give them proper equipment, they can make that transition and do it fairly rapidly. Kevin Schwantz did some good stuff behind the car. Carmichael was doing really good things
in the truck
series.
Yes.
Before the money went away. Do you remember?
Yes.
The monster money got pulled and went to Kurt Busch because Kurt lost his Cup ride, and Kyle had the truck team that Ricky was supposed to go to with the monster money.
Yes.
And Kyle said, I got to give my brother the ride. So that's why Ricky got out of trucks, because he didn't want to spend his own money. Same thing with Kevin. Didn't want to spend his own money. Freddie Spencer did some car racing stuff. Eddie Lawson did car racing stuff and did really well.
Rossi could
was Indy Lights back then.
Rossi could have went to F1. I mean, Rossi could have went to F1. He would have been great in F1. And that's what I love about him, is that he still had the passion for the bikes. He could have went to F1. And F1 runs the show. I mean, that's why MotoGP has to go an hour before F1, because F1 is basically big bank.
Rossi could do rally cars, too. Rossi was very good in rally cars. Chad Reed has been getting into the Lamborghini Super Trofeo series and has won races over there. And he's planning, now that his Supercross career is winding down, he's planning on more sports car racing. So there's a lot of them over there that I think, well, of course, you got guys like Mike Halewood and John Surtees,
yes.
world champions.
Yes.
And, all that. So it's been done before, and it can be done again.
Oh my God, yeah, man. Honestly, it's probably boring for the viewers, but I could talk racing all day. Now, why didn't you? Why didn't you try to get a career in racing? Because I know you got bit by the racing bug just like I did. You went to, correct me if I'm wrong, Sacramento, the mile, or we went to Sacramento on Saturday nights to watch racing, and you got bit by the race. Why didn't you want to race though? What kept you from racing?
I did want to race, but it's that money.
Oh, no.
I didn't come from a well-to-do family.
Yeah.
I didn't have, huge sponsors, and I didn't have that opportunity to start. My parents were like, we couldn't go do karting and, all that kind of stuff at a young age when you needed to.
Right.
TQ midgets and all that sort of stuff. So I knew the racing wasn't going to happen behind the wheel as a career. So what's the next thing you could do to be a part of it and have a passion there? And that was on the broadcasting side.
Man, you know what? And I talked to Steve Day about this from MotoGP, and he raced bikes also. I didn't realize that either. So I researched him. He raced bikes, and I ask you guys this, and I get this feeling too. Is I'm lucky to be out on the grid, and if you see me, I'm the biggest dork in the world. I'm always up in their grill getting pictures of them, but it pains. There's a little bit of a pain there that goes, I could have been there if. And do you have a little space somewhere that goes, man, if only I would have blanked or I could have been there? And does it leave a little void? I mean, you have a great life. You're doing what you want to do for a living, a beautiful family, everything. But is there a little bit of void? Go, man, I could have done this.
Well, I think yes, and that's okay. I think I've come to grips with it.
Are you sure?
Will.
Are you sure? Because you hesitated. You hesitated like I do. And when you hesitate, that means you go.
It's like, okay, so like you talked about running that modified up at Hickory Motor Speedway.
Right.
On Monday.
Oh, you.
And it was like a NASCAR Tour style modified that you see up in the Northeast. And yes. I'm making the laps, and this is the same track where, so many great NASCAR drivers had started their careers.
Right.
Dale Earnhardt Sr., Ned Jarrett, Harry Gant. Richard Petty, they all ran laps at Hickory. And I'm out there, running my laps, and I'm doing okay. Now, I'm not pushing it because it's not my car.
Yeah, exactly.
Car, right?
Exactly.
But you're hitting your marks. You're doing the lines right. You're flat on the floor going down the street. You're doing it, right?
Right.
And you're thinking, I think if I had had enough time, I could do this too. Now, that doesn't mean I think I could be Harry Gant,
right.
Dale Earnhardt. It just means I could have made a race or three and been a part of the scene somewhere.
Yes.
Does that mean I would have made it to Cup or IndyCar? I don't know. Who knows? Probably not.
Yeah.
But you could have had a career doing it.
Yeah.
Right? But I've been very blessed in doing the broadcasting side, being in there with my heroes, doing all that, and having opportunities to do things like drive that modified or go to Baja that have fed that addiction and that passion on the other side.
Yes.
Now, if I could make BT money, what I hope someday is to have a vintage car.
Yes.
A vintage car.
Yes.
Or something like that I could do that would be competitive, not necessarily life-threatening anymore. I'm kind of past that part. But where you're pushing yourself.
Yes.
More than you're battling. Because what I like about vintage racing at this stage of my life is you don't have to be in the fastest car. And you don't necessarily have to win. I took this car and I went faster in this car today than I did a week ago on this particular track, right?
Right.
So you're constantly kind of pushing yourself.
Right.
Vintage racing is not so much about who won today, but it's about the excitement and the enjoyment of seeing and hearing and experiencing those cars again.
Right.
So to take an old Trans Am car and to lap Sonoma or Laguna Seca and to do it at a competitive pace would be fun.
Yeah.
And then if I could do that with my family or my kids, that'd be even better.
I'll do you one better. Since you're banking with Speed Sport and you're making that money, how about we get a Speed Sport pro karting team, me and you, kart series, just karting, me and you, or maybe do an endurance kart race. What? Endurance kart race. You sponsor me if you don't want to do it. If you're scared of the speed, you know. I mean, I don't blame you. I mean, if you know you're scared to get a dog, but I still have that in me. I still have that in me. Why don't you sponsor me? Speed Sport karting. What? I'll have your emblem on my back.
Here's what we need to do.
Okay.
It's not the karting. Karting is fun. Don't get me. I've done that. I like it.
We're gonna do that when you get to Indy. We're gonna do it.
I'm not afraid of the speed. Don't get me wrong. It's not about that. It's about risk reward.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's just risk reward. The speed is there. It's where are you doing the speed, and are you doing it in a safer environment? Mario Andretti is not afraid of speed. But I asked him one time, I said, hey, how come you don't vintage race any of your old F1 cars? Because they're all around. And we'd all love to see you in that John Player Lotus again. He's like, because I know what I would do if I did. He said, if I got in that car, I'm going flat, and the safety things in that car are no good on today's standards.
Yes.
So if something went wrong, the risk reward wouldn't work. You can't, Mario's certainly no chicken, right?
Right. That you know what? That's so
here's
true.
What we need to do, BT.
Okay.
This is what we need to do.
Tell me what we need to do.
We need to go do one of those lemons races. You know what those are?
No. What is that? What is that?
Like the 24 hours of lemons?
No. What is
Oh,
that?
yeah.
What is that? Tell me what that is.
Google this. You need to Google this, and when you find it, you're going to go, that's it.
Okay.
We are doing this.
Okay.
Okay, lemons racing. So these guys go out, and they get these old junker cars, and there's usually like a buy-in budget. Like you can't spend more than $500, $1,000, $1,500 on the car. And these guys get all kinds of crazy with their vehicles.
I'm looking at it right now. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They get all kinds of crazy with their vehicles, and they do these road races like out of Thunder Hill in California, or Kershaw back here in the Carolinas, wherever it might be. And you have a team of drivers, and it's highly competitive, and you want to win, but they have a lot of funny rules. Like if you break a rule on a pit stop, everybody on the team has to get out and do push-ups before you get going again. It's fun, right?
That's what it's all about.
Really good competitive racing.
Yes.
But it's fun, and they decorate the cars and have a really good time. And I think with our crazy sense of humor and everything, that would be the way to go for us.
We'll put
We'd have a good time.
We put a mullet on the back of our car. A mullet.
We put the motorhead
Motorhead
logo on the door,
and a mullet on the back.
Yeah.
With a guitar symbol on the hood.
Right.
For rock and roll.
Big horns.
And the horns. And the horns, bro. Yeah.
Horns on the hood.
Yes.
Right?
Heck yes. Now we're talking, man.
And we get a couple of our buddies, and we just go have a great time. And that's, that's one of the things about racing. Yes. And it's kind of the car and bike culture all together. And that when you're with that group of people, whether it's a Cars and Coffee or the Indy 500, you bring those worlds together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are good people.
Great people.
Car people, bike people.
Yes.
Really good people.
Yes.
Right? So one of the biggest frustrations with the Indy 500 not allowing in all the fans and everything this year is I'm going to miss seeing so many of my friends.
Yes.
Who I know would have been coming to the event and hanging out in the garage area on race morning. Now, I'm going to be there, and you're going to buy me dinner at the Almost that week while I'm in town. And that's going to be fun. And thank you for the extra share. But the deal is that I'm going to miss seeing those people on race morning.
Yes.
The race is going to happen.
Yes.
And I'm going to miss those people. So that's why that 24 hours of lemons type deal is so much fun. Because it's not just about the competition. It's about the people and brewing out with your buddies.
Yes.
And enjoying that all together, that competition and that fun of motoring.
The greatest thing about motorsports, at least coming from my point of view, is it's a niche sport, and the greatest thing about that is being a niche sport is that you get better access to the riders. I mean, to the participants. I mean, where you can, talk to them, sign out. You see them walk around the paddock. I mean, you don't get that in football or baseball or basketball, the security and everything. But in GP or even racing, you get that proximity to your sports heroes. They're right there, and they talk to you, and it makes the biggest difference in the world. And and it makes me. Well, we know how the game is played. Don't get me wrong, but it just bothers me when I watch ESPN ESPN or Fox, whatever, and they talk about, there's no sports on during this pandemic. I go, yeah, there are. You guys just aren't covering it. I mean, Supercross was kicking ass in Utah. It was kicking ass in Utah. They didn't talk about it not once. What Cooper Webb did on the Wednesdays, how he was kicking ass on Wednesdays. They didn't talk about that. And it just pains me that they act like there's no sports. Like, yes, there are sports. What F1 was doing. I mean, what MotoGP is doing right now, and they don't talk about that. They have a limited. I mean, like I said, I know how the game is played. It's got to go with the money and football back. But man, motorsports, because of the proximity to your sports heroes and it being a niche sport, that's what makes it so special, man. It's like I look up to these guys, and now, I look up to these guys, and now me and Bradley Smith are buddies. I remember Mark Marquez when he was in Moto 3, and I talked to him, and he was in Moto 2. We talked, and now he's so big time, and he's still, and this meant a lot, the world to me. And I thought he was all big time. He was a MotoGP star and everything, and he was doing talking to some people in Alpine Stars, the hospitality, and I was waiting outside for it to open, and I was leaning up against the rail, and I thought he forgot all about me, and he came and he hit me on the butt, kind of like, hey, I still remember you, and he rode off, and it was the greatest thing in the world. I'm riding on a moped, and Maverick Vinales gives me a high five as he's passing on his moped. I mean, that's what I love about motorsports. I mean, honestly, that's just me talking to you right now, annoying you to the point where, we're finally buddies and we're doing this. That's what makes it so special to me, man, is the proximity.
You already know that if that person is in that culture, the motorcycle car culture, they're already a good person.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it's like you're yelling. I'm not worried about it. It's like, well, this is obviously a good guy because he's here. So who is this whack job? And then the enthusiasm boils over. It's like, well, he's got to be a fun guy because if he's willing to do that, he's okay.
And where is security? Where is security?
He's my kind of weirdo. You know what I mean?
Man, honest, I look back on it, and like I've done a better job of curbing it back. But man, I remember it just got so out of control that my buddy Alonzo Bowden said, BT, we got to talk. And he goes, listen, people like you, but you have got to just comment. I go, yeah, man, I know. And it's, I tell people all the time, and I'm not even being joking, I can't control. I'm so happy to be there. That is where when MotoGP was in Indianapolis,
I would. BT, it comes through. And don't sell yourself short on this, right? I mean, that passion is why everybody's attracted to you that way. And they welcome you in because your passion is so strong, and it comes out just out of every pore in your body. It is exposed when you're there. It is just. I mean, it's hard to ignore, and it gets everybody else enthused because BT's so enthused. It's like, how could you not be excited about this? Spend 2 minutes with BT, and if you don't like this, you just need to leave.
Man, I honestly, the greatest weekends of my life, like these next 3 weeks, MotoGP, WSBK, F1, Moto America. Dude, last week, I literally didn't sleep. I was up all night watching.
You skipped one. You skipped one.
Which one? What? Supercross?
What's going on down the street from you?
Indy 500's coming up. Yeah, so I got Indy coming up now, but I'm talking last week. So these next weeks coming up, oh my God. And you're going to be in town, and you're buying me dinner after I buy you dinner, after I buy you lunch because it's cheaper that way. And we're going to have a ball.
No, you can't. It's your turn to buy. You know why?
Why? Why is it?
It's my birthday on Indy 500.
That's right. The Virgo with the velocity. I will buy you dinner, your birthday dinner.
You got to buy. You have no choice.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I do have a choice. I could not show up and say I was out of town. But yeah, I will, buddy. It's going to be on. It's going to be on NBC Sports. I'm going to put it on that sports card. Trust me, we're going to get your credit card. We're going to put it on that card. I can't wait, man. That's going to be great, dude. I can't wait, man.
We need to get you to that event, but not when it's during a pandemic. We need to get you there when it's in full bloom in May. I'm telling you, and all your viewers and listeners, there is no sporting event in the world that is like the Indy 500. And I've been to the Super Bowl, been to the World Series, been to the NBA Finals, I've been to Daytona, I've been to Sebring, I've been to MotoGP. They're all fantastic. But race morning at the Indy 500 is special. Special.
I've been there 4 times. I remember the last time. I just remember being in turn 3, and it was Dario Franchitti and Sato, and I knew Sato was going in too hot. I said, he's going in too hot. I mean, for somebody who's never raced, I can see it, and I go, he's going in too hot. And I think Dario said, he's going in too hot, and I'd be damned, he went in too hot. And he came in and hit the wall. I saw him hit the wall, and I was like, you went in too hot. And Dario went around, and he won, and I just knew, I see it, man. And like I said, it pains me. I go, man, I wish I was racing. I wouldn't have went in too hot, but he had to do it, though. That was kind of smart. He passed him with 2 laps instead of 1 lap, trying to think and get him off. Like, okay, I'm gonna surprise him. And like I said, I saw he's going in too hot, and I just knew it. But
he learned, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I love Sato, but my favorite driver ever, the one that I walked away going, I got to be like this guy, is Scott Dixon. Something about Scott Dixon.
Oh, great guy.
Man, I met him in Virginia.
Have you watched his documentary?
Yeah, I'm watching it now. Yes.
It's good.
Oh my God. I met him in Virginia. I shook his hand. And I walked away going, you know what? I got to be a better person. I mean, I just love Scott Dixon. He is the man. He is the man. But speaking of the man, before we get out, man, I was going to talk about this earlier, but now to switch gears just a little bit, we're going to talk about a little rock and roll, because that's another thing that brought us together is rock and roll. I mean, I've been a meddler. Okay. I've been a meddler since. And I tell people this, man, I used it I had a one-man show kind of, but it was like, I would say I was black until 4th grade. And that was where I met. I was introduced to Kiss Alive 2, and what we got? What are you bringing for me? What are you bringing for me? Oh, look at that! Yes. Oh my, that's where we bonded. Gene Simmons. That is awesome, dude. That album changed my life, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Kiss Alive 2. I tell people I was.
How about that, man?
That is awesome. That is great,
Boots and all.
Dude. That album changed my life. I said,
You know why I have this?
Why?
You know why I have this?
Why?
I have this, and it sits here in my office in the house, and that reminds me of what you're talking about. Kiss Alive, that album, right? The whole deal.
Yes.
And it reminds me to just have fun on the air.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, all these guys did was have fun. They're just going out to have fun.
They knew who they were.
It's just good every now and then to look at and go, you know what? Don't overthink it.
Yes.
It's racing. They're going to drop the flag. These guys are going to battle like crazy and just have fun calling it.
Exactly, because Kiss knew what they were. They knew they weren't the greatest musicians. I mean, even though I think Paul Stanley was underrated in his songwriting. In his songwriting, Paul Stanley was underrated in his songwriting. And even his guitar playing, in his singing, Paul Stanley was underrated. But Kiss knew what they were. Like the best rock and roll band, you got Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, whatever. Me personally, I tend to go harder. I always say, to me personally, I don't care what anybody says, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, the best rock and roll bands there are, and that's just me. But Kiss knew what they were, and they still rose above it. Yeah, and they laughed about it. People made fun of them all the time, but that's still nobody can say, who's Kiss? Everybody knew who Kiss was. Everybody. They're worldwide, and they were unstoppable.
Greatest line Gene Simmons ever said.
Tell me.
Greatest line Gene Simmons ever said.
Yeah.
Somebody said, Gene, you sold out. He goes, you sure? You're damn right I did. I sold out Detroit, I sold out Cleveland, and I sold out Cincinnati.
That was me. You know why I loved him? Because I identified with him also because he was all about fun. He wasn't about drugs or anything like that. And his only vice was women. And I was like, I can identify with that. I mean, I can identify with, and that's why he was always my favorite. You know, that's why I like this guy. It was almost like Ted Nugent. Ted Nugent, no drugs. It was just women. I can identify with that. You know what I mean? Give me rock and roll. I don't need drugs. I don't need drinking. I just need rock and roll and a real good, like Poison. All I need nothing but a good time, and that's all I need. Rock and roll. Give me racing, rock and roll, and I'm happy, bro. I am happy. This weekend, MotoGP. What? Happy. That's all I am. Now I'm gonna ask you some questions. Okay? Rock and roll questions. Right? Best debut rock album, Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction or Van Halen?
Okay, I'm gonna say VH1 because that's the era I was growing up in, right?
Right.
And what I remember about that first Van Halen album is when I heard Eruption for the first time.
Yes.
I was like, who are the 10 guys playing guitar on that song? Because there's no way one guy is making all that sound. It was unbelievable, and I'd never heard anything like it.
Yes.
And to me, Eddie Van Halen is just remarkable.
When you hear Eruption and then there's that little bit of a break and then it goes into You Really Got Me, if you don't want to punch somebody or throw a chair through a window, I mean, what are you really doing with your life? When I heard that, I was like, are you serious, bro? And I just remember like, man, I mean, dude. That even right now, when I get off the air, I'm probably gonna get a ticket. I'm gonna get on my motorcycle and probably go 100 miles an hour down the street.
And that's not to take anything away from GNR, because Appetite was certainly a great album.
But the first three chords of Welcome to the Jungle, I mean, you're going, oh, here we go. And every song, you know, they're out to get me. But to me, honestly, yeah, Van Halen, it just hit me. And then with Ice Cream Man also, Ice Cream, you know, I got to put that minute up, Dixie cup. All flavors and push-ups too. I'm your ice cream. And then he goes, all right, boys. Dude. All right, boy. And they kick it in the end. Man, they kick it. And it got to the point, I start loving Atomic Punk. I used to be like, yeah. Right? Now I'm like, you know, nobody rules these streets tonight like me. Nobody. The Atomic Punk. Man, don't even get me going. My producer's 19. He's probably have never heard of Van Halen. He always like, what group is this? And he always gives me shit. But man, I'm trying to teach him what real music was all about. And he looked at me like, what is this you're talking about?
You know, the thing about that music, BT, is it was always fun.
Yes.
You know, like my wife picks on me, Kimberly, she'll say, you don't listen to any new music. I go, sure I do. I listen to old AC/DC and new AC/DC, right? that music is just fun.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You talked about Poison, even Kiss or any of it. It's never music that brings you down.
Yes.
That was one of the things I struggled with grunge, right? I mean, like, Jeremy is an amazing song, but what a sad topic.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
It's not like I'm going to put that song on and go, hey,
let's party.
I feel really good. Let's go out and have a great Saturday night. But you crank up a little AC/DC,
dude.
Got a rhythm.
Have a drink on me. If you crank up, have a drink on me. I say a Saturday night after the Daytona Supercross, which is where we met again, and we partied with Kevin Windham. If you play "Have a Drink on Me" by AC/DC and say you got a little in your cup, for me, don't make fun of me. I love mojitos. I feel like a Navy SEAL with a mojito. I got great breath. I got fresh breath. I can go close talk a hot chick. You know what I mean? So I feel like a Navy SEAL with that. So I get a couple mojitos and hear it, have a drink on me, and buddy, it's a good time. You know, you don't, like you said, you don't get that with Jeremy. And Jeremy spoken. Somebody call the police. I think this kid's about to shoot the shit up.
But it's an amazing song.
It's
right?
a great song. But grunge kind of, and you said it, and we're not throwing any shade, but I know grunge kind of ruined rock and roll in a sense. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's great, but it was all fun. Like you said, 80s all fun, man. Poison and Rat and Dawkins. And then grunge came. And it was like, I don't want to be a rock star, but I am. But I really don't want to, and I got problems. And it's like, okay, it's good, but, I mean, it's like, come on, man. I mean, I'll put Soundgarden against anybody. And one of my favorite songs ever, which I was going to ask you this question, might as well go there now, but my second favorite song ever is Just Like Suicide by Soundgarden. I mean, that song, it puts you in a mood, and it starts off a little, you know, I love songs that build, and Just Like Suicide is one of my favorite songs in the world. And I'm going to lead up to this question here. Favorite rock song ever? Oh, I tell you what, top five rock songs for you. No particular order. Top five rock songs.
Man.
Top five. I got your kids kidnapped. You got your kids kidnapped, and if you don't give me those answers in the next 30 seconds.
So I'm riff driven.
Okay. Okay.
So I like, the thing that hooks me is a good riff.
Right.
So top five riff-based songs for me, not in order.
Not in order. That's too hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you just said, dude, you gotta put a playlist together of 5 songs that are just gonna rock your brain out right now to get you going. You're going to the track with your buddies. You want to be fully raised when you get there.
Yes.
I would have Wasted by Def Leppard.
Yes.
On the first album.
Okay. Yes.
On the first Def Leppard album.
Look at
Wasted.
you. Look at you. Look at
I
you.
would have.
Come on, man. Come on, bro.
I guess I'd have to go with "Whole Lot of Love" from Zeppelin.
Oh my God, the beginning of that
That's got a
song
great riff.
kicks you in.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna go. Whole Lot of Rosie.
Oh, look at
from
you.
AC/DC.
Look at you. Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna go Bomber for Motorhead.
Okay.
Bomber.
Gotcha.
And fifth one. Oh, and this isn't because of the riff, but because of the drums. "Run to the Hills" by Maiden.
Oh my God, dude! You look at you nailing it. Oh, and it's so smooth too. White man came across the sea.
And Nico on the drums in there, just bum bum bum.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's just.
You are classic.
awesome.
You're classic.
Awesome.
You're class. And okay,
And
this
I mean, it's hard to do just 5.
I know, but I had to put you on the spot with that. I
I know.
Greatest metal album of all time. Greatest metal album. Metal. You can throw rock and roll in if you want to, but you know what I mean. The greatest rock and roll album of all time.
Okay.
Oh, how about this? Top five.
Okay. So "Highway to Hell" goes in there,
Okay. 1.
and then you follow that right back with "Back in Black."
Oh.
And I almost consider that 2 different.
Yes.
It's almost 2 different deals because
Yeah.
Brian and Bon were so different.
Yes.
Boy, it's another classic rock album more than a metal album, but "Toys in the Attic" is pretty damn good.
Man, that was I'm sure they don't remember that time, but yeah, Aerosmith rocked it. People don't know how great Aerosmith was before all the plastic surgery. Yeah, and he looks like a lady. Yeah, man, they really rocked it. I mean, they did, man. I mean,
You have to put Zeppelin 4 in there just because it's one of the greatest albums of all time.
Yes.
You really do.
Yeah.
"Kiss Alive."
Man, that's why we're like this, dude. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. You know my heart. This is going to be the toughest question you'll ever have, okay? Toughest question you ever. You have 1 to choose from. 1 to choose. 1. You can do this. You can either, you get a phone call. Scott Dixon. "Hey, mate, I need you to work for me, Indy 500. I want you to work for me, mate. I want you to be the crew chief. I'm going to pay you $400,000, mate, one day work for me." You're like, okay, Indy 500 or same time on the same day, the last ever concert for the Rolling Stones. Same day, same time. And to throw in a little your son, your beloved son, Lucky Lucas calls you up and says, "Hey, Dad, listen, I know you got a chance to work with Scott Dixon in Indy 500, and he's got the car to win, but it really would mean a lot to me if we went to watch the Rolling Stones together. But it's up to you, Dad. You do what you want, but I just want you to know that it'd mean a lot to me if me and you go rock together."
So you just made it very simple. You did.
Okay. So
My kids win 100% of the time.
look at you, Dad of the Year. Dad of the Year.
No, they do. I mean, your kids always win, and it wouldn't even be. Lucas could have picked either one of those, or he could have said, I have a football game. Would you come to my football game?" I'm going to the football game. I made a promise to myself when I first had kids, no matter what I was doing, if either one of my kids said, "Hey, would you do this with me?" No matter what I was doing, I'm stopping what I'm doing, and I'm doing that with them. Whether it was Lucas wanting to shoot hoops in the driveway, or Livy when she was, little, wanting to have a tea party. You do it, because those moments are not going to be there for long. My daughter is now started her senior year of high school today.
Oh my God! Congratulations.
Lucas is playing high school football now.
Oh my gosh!
So that's how fast they're going, And I've seen the Stones. I've been to the 500. You've done those things. there'll be another one of those. There'll never be another time when your kids are little,
Man, that honestly, that's why you think I'm joking when I say that's why I always say, man, you live the life I want. We were close and everything, but you got the family that I go, man, I wish I say I wish, but I just live a different. When it comes to that, it's like I'm hard to get. I'm a Gemini. I'm really weird like that, but that's what I've always respected about you, man. Is just the family, dude. You brought your wife out to see me, thank you, and I can't wait to meet Lucas. I still think he's going to go to Clemson and be the greatest linebacker they've ever had. I really mean that. It's just I love that about you. No matter what you do, it's that family life, dude, and I love that. We got to have a part 2 of this. I mean it from the bottom. I know I'm getting a wrap-up sign from Wyatt, but we got to have a part 2 because we didn't talk about enough rock and roll or enough racing, and I could talk about this all day. I literally could be here all day talking to you, Ralph, because you're one of my favorite people in the world. I mean, top five, because we love racing. That's you. You're living that passion of racing, but you're getting paid for it. I write a column for racing. I'm not getting paid for it, but I still love it. But the thing is, and I know that's one of your things of success, is that you got to have passion. Passion has got to rule it. Like the Scorpion said, when passion rules the game, and passion rules your life. Because if you don't have passion, why even do it if you don't have a passion for it? You have a passion for racing. I have a passion for racing. Passion for rock and roll. Passion for rock. But you got that passion for family. That man, I hope I get there eventually someday. But you got the greatest life ever. You did it, man. I look up to you. I admire you. I can't wait to celebrate your birthday. I think August 23rd, is it, right? August 23rd? Right?
Yeah.
You're going to be like 22, 23, 24?
22.
Yeah, 22. Yeah, good for you, man. You look good.
Good number.
You look
Doing all right.
You look good. Yeah. It was a rough 22. But you look Ralph.
Hey,
yeah.
listen, this is, and I appreciated everything you said, but ultimately, BT, and I kind of, I forget even the fans are tuned in and listening to us because I'm just broing out with you.
Yeah.
And that friendship is very deep and very important to me too, more than you know. And it's just because, you're a really good guy, man. You're a really good guy, and that passion that you have for everything comes out of you, and it's so infectious, and it's so great to be around, and it's so uplifting. And I appreciate everything you said about me, but know that it goes back and forth equally, and I really appreciate you having me on, even though you didn't talk about speed sport.
Man, I was gonna get to that, and man, I really wanted to mention it.
I'm just picking on you.
I wanted,
I gotta pick on you.
but the thing that made me so that touched my soul, man, was when. During the pandemic, didn't know what was going on. I was like, when unemployment's coming in, when I'm going to work again. And I get this phone call. I look down, and it says Ralph. And I go, are you serious? And we talked. And then you called me again while you're out in Utah. And, man, that just meant the world to me. It like put I told my roommate, I go, Ralph called me. She goes, real? And I was just lifted my soul. I was so depressed during that time. And I was like, man, I want to thank you so much for that. I mean, everything you do, we've always had fun, but man, when you gave me that phone call, I was like, hey man, how you doing? And I just, man, it made me feel so good with that, and I just want to say thank you for that. And I've always known you were a real friend. It wasn't fake. It wasn't like that. It was always real friendship, but I just wanted to let you know that hit me so hard, and so I want to thank you for that, and just everything you've always done. I mean that. And, like, if anybody's watching, man, trust me when I say this, Ralph Sheheen is more than just the voice of motor racing, the voice of Supercross. This guy, he walks it like he talks it, and he's a better man than you even think he is. And I mean it by the heart. A better man than you even think he is. So thank you, Ralph. When you get to town to Indy, I'll pay for your birthday. We'll have a good time, but we're going to see if Fast Times is ready to race. And when we go, I will not hesitate to put you in the wall. I know you're a little older than me. I will put you in the wall, and I will not think twice about it. I got a little smoke in me. I'll put you in the wall. and in the
have to catch me first.
Hey,
you have to catch me first.
And in the words of Smoke, hey, you know where to find me. I will catch you, man. I can't wait to hit me up when you get to Indy. Got to go. Thank you, Ralph. I appreciate you, sir. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, man. Have a great day. Tell the kids and Kimberly I said hi, man.
You got it, brother.
Keep rocking,
Horns
brother.
up.
Yes, thank you, man. And thank you for watching Tales from a Gemini. That was Ralph Sheheen. That guy is my heart. I love that guy. to my core. So thank you for watching. Leave a comment for anything. I don't care if you criticize me. Leave a comment. Thanks for watching. And like we always say about this time, peace.